With the 2022 NBA season starting very soon, I want to talk about the players that have the most to prove this year. All these players need to have a good season in order for them to raise their stock and gain respect once again. A lot of these players can use all this criticism to fuel them as motivation and have a great comeback year. I love the idea of second chances, and the players on this list all have a chance to have a great season this year, because they need it. The first player I want to talk about is Kristaps Porzingis. The Mavericks traded for him, and it was supposed to be the star next to Luka Doncic. They were taking a risk because he was coming back from a serious injury, but if he came back to at least what he was before, they were getting what they wanted. In the first season with the Mavs, he got injured, but it's normal for someone that's 7'3" and is very mobile to get injured. In the 2020 playoffs, he played half a series, which was 3 games. In those 3 games, he looked really promising, and many fans thought he could be the number 2 on one of the best duos now and into the future. A lot of people were still high on Kristaps, but after last season, most fans gave up on him. He was injured throughout the regular season, and when he was playing, he massively underperformed to his standards. He averaged 13, 5, and 1 on 47, 30, 84 shooting splits in the 2021 playoffs. The thing is, not only did he underperform, but he had the tools to tear the Clippers apart. Kawhi would have to guard Luka because despite Paul George and Patrick Beverley being on that team, no one was able to give Luka a somewhat hard time besides Kawhi. And with him out of the equation, who was left to guard Kristaps? Paul George is too small, and besides him it's just Batum and Zubac. Kristaps wouldn't attack the rim, and he just wasn't aggressive at all. The Mavericks lost, and if Kristaps played even remotely close to how he did the season prior, the Mavericks would have moved on, and who knows how far they could have went. That would have been huge for the Mavs. Many fans have given up on Kristaps, and this could turn out to be one of 2 options. 1, he uses this as motivation and plays great next year as a beast. This is his first fully healthy offseason without him having to deal or rehab from injuries. He could ramp up for next season and play at a very high level at 100% health. Or 2, he can continue to crumble and underperform. Many injury-prone players shy away from the ball and aren't confident at all. They're often too scared to risk another injury, so they aren't as aggressive as they can be. Kristaps is a very injury-prone player, and we did see him do this last year. He needs a big season next year to prove everyone wrong, and I think there's a good chance he does that. The second player that has a lot to prove next season is Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker first came to the Celtics to fill in the role that Kyrie had left. At first, many people thought Kemba was a better fit for the Celtics and that he would be a better player to have on the roster. But as time went on, Kemba Walker just regressed to the point where Celtics fans wanted him out. In the 2021 regular season, his stats were similar, but not as good as it usually is. He averaged 19 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists a game on 42% shooting from the field and 36% from 3. Last season, he missed the All-Star team and wasn't even in the conversation. He missed the All-Star team for the first time since 2016. In the playoffs, he averaged 13, 4, and 4 on 32% shooting from the field and 18% from 3. Since Jaylen Brown was injured in the playoffs, Kemba was supposed to be their second option, and for him to play that bad in the playoffs made his stock take a huge hit. The Celtics traded him to the OKC Thunder and had to attach 2 picks to the deal while only getting Al Horford, Moses Brown, and a second-round pick. The Thunder didn't even want Kemba. They literally just used him for picks. Many teams didn't want him with his contract, so he gave up $20 million in a buyout and then signed a 2-year contract and is being paid about $8 million a year. On the Knicks, he has a chance to prove people wrong. The Knicks have a great defense to complement Kemba's bad defense, and in the playoffs last year, the Knicks struggled a lot with shot creation. Kemba can help with that and has the opportunity to thrive. He's filling in a much needed role on the Knicks, and that could be all he needs to have a big comeback year. The third player that has the most to prove next season is Kyle Kuzma. In his rookie season, he was really impressive, as he finished 4th in Rookie of the Year voting behind Ben Simmons, Donovan Mitchell, and Jason Tatum. The gap between him and Jason Tatum wasn't terribly far off. He averaged 16, 6, and 2 in his rookie season and averaged 19, 6, and 3 in his second season. He looked like a good young player that could turn out to be a really good pickup for the Lakers. But in 2020, Anthony Davis was added to the team, and the Lakers were real championship contenders. They had a great duo with LeBron and AD, they just didn't know who the third guy would be. Many people thought that Kyle Kuzma was going to be him. He had a really disappointing season and averaged 13 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist a game on 44, 32, 74 shooting splits. Fans would look and see how Jason Tatum was an all-star that year, but then Kyle Kuzma just regressed. In 2021, the same trend continues. The thing is, he had more opportunities than the previous season and he still couldn't improve. LeBron played only 45 games last year and Anthony Davis played 36. He had the playing time and role he needed in order to thrive, but it just didn't happen. He averaged 13, 6, and 2 last year on 44, 36, 69 shooting splits. And now that he's gone from LA, he's starting next season in Washington. I think that's one of the best things that could have happened to him. He has a much bigger role and has the room to do what he does best. He is also not playing next to LeBron James and isn't contending for a championship, so that could really help take some pressure off of his shoulders. The fourth player I want to touch on is Tyler Hero. And unlike some other guys on this list, he doesn't have the most to prove next season because he had a down year. Yeah, he has the most to prove because of his expectations he had going into the year. After the finals run in 2020, people thought that Tyler Hero was going to be a star sooner rather than later. He was a part of their finals run, he was a huge part of their finals run, and looked like a future star. He played great, but I think he was a little bit overrated after that run. In January 2021, James Harden was going to be traded. We all knew that. We just didn't know where. He was either going to the Sixers, Heat, or Brooklyn Nets. Miami was so close to getting the deal done, but Miami didn't want to give up Tyler Hero. As the 2021 season played out, he was disappointing. Many fans thought he got worse, but in reality, he didn't. The funny thing is how he improved in almost every major statistic. The only thing that he didn't live up to is the high expectations that the fans gave him. It isn't even Tyler Hero's fault. That's just what fans do. When a player, especially a young player, seems to be breaking out, everybody loves him and wants to root for him. They put on massive expectations, and when the player fails to reach them, they hate on him. He started living the Miami lifestyle. He has an Instagram girlfriend and showed up in music videos. That's when the fans started to turn on him. And now that the Heat got pieces like Kyle Lowry and PJ Tucker, the Heat are even better. They aren't true championship contenders, but they are up there. Tyler Hero needs to have an amazing season next year to raise the ceiling for the Miami Heat and to prove the haters wrong. The fifth player I want to talk about is Dennis Schroeder. He was in a very similar situation to Kyle Kuzma. Although he was disappointing to start last season, he was given the opportunity to thrive. When LeBron and Anthony Davis went out, he also had the chance to step it up, but he didn't. He went from being the runner-up for the 6th man of the year the season prior to putting up 15, 6, and 4 on 44, 33, 85 shooting splits. Those are still good numbers, but that's not what the Lakers got him for. The Lakers were trying not to only make the playoffs, but miss the play-in tournament as well. This means pieces like Dennis Schroeder, Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma, and KCP were all supposed to step it up. You could make the argument that Dennis Schroeder was supposed to have the biggest role out of those players. After his disappointing year last year, the Lakers didn't re-sign him, so the Celtics got him for a steal. He turned down an $84 million contract, and this year he got signed for a 1-year, $6 million contract. Seeing how much he missed out on shows how low his stock was after last season. I think he has a much needed role on the Celtics, and he can contribute on a winning team. I think the Dennis Schroeder signing could turn out to be one of the best signings in the 2021 offseason. He thrives with the ball in his hands, and the Celtics don't have a lot of depth, so he could be the primary ball handler coming off the bench. The last player that has the most to prove going into next season is Ben Simmons. I think he has the most to prove out of everyone on this list. After his disappointing playoff run, fans have been all over him. A lot of the criticism is warranted, but I think some fans are going too far. As someone that had superstar potential, and some people were saying he was going to be the next LeBron James, Ben Simmons has been really disappointing. And as great as his defense is, his offense has barely changed since his rookie season, and you could argue that it has been worse. He doesn't have a good three-point shot at all, and that holds him back a ton. But what I think holds him back even more is the lack of aggression and confidence. He is 6 feet 11 inches tall and weighs 240 pounds. He is able to guard players 1 through 4 and most 5s as well. He has the physical attributes to attack the rim and be more aggressive, but that just isn't the case. As a player that's supposed to be the clear second option on a championship caliber team, he only attempted 8 shots a game in the playoffs. One thing I hate most is when someone, especially NBA players, don't reach their potential. And it's really disappointing to watch Ben Simmons plateau. He is gifted with physical attributes and court vision, but just fails to expand his game. Right now, I think Ben Simmons is the most hated player in the NBA, and that's where a lot of people go too far. Ben Simmons is still a beast and is easily a top 50 player in the NBA. Over the offseason, I think he has either continued to do what he has been doing, or he finally listened and expanded his game. I do think Ben Simmons can reach the level of a top 10 player one day, but he just needs a change of scenery and a change of mindset. Going into next season, Ben Simmons has the most to prove, and I hope he proves it. Those are 6 players that I think have the most to prove this season. To recap, the 6 players are Kristaps Porzingis, Kemba Walker, Kyle Kuzma, Tyler Hero, Dennis Schroeder, and Ben Simmons. I hope every single one of them has a great season because I hate it when people don't reach their potential. I believe that they have the most to prove this season, and we can just sit back and see if they do. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I read every single comment, so let me know what you think in the comments down below. Subscribe for future basketball content, and thank you for watching.